The new season of the NBA is less than 2 months away, and we are at that point of the off season where you got to try and find something to spice it up a little bit. So I thought, what better way to do that than to give you guys my 10 predictions to going into this season. And now we're going to do this a little bit differently. So I did 5 what I call layups, what I think are going to be pretty easily predictable things. And then we have 5 heaves. Heaves are obviously more like a half court shot. If it goes in, you look like a genius. If it doesn't, you were really set up to succeed with a half court shot anyways. So let's get right into it. And we're going to start with our first easy prediction. That first easy prediction is going to be that the number 1 seeds of both conferences will remain the same coming into this year. I do genuinely believe the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder are both going to repeat as the number 1 seed of their conference. OKC is obviously coming off their championship run, and their roster is not changed. In fact, all they did was add a piece like Thomas Sorber, and they still basically maintain the same squad. Now, do I know if they're going to be a 18-win difference from their, from first to second? I don't know about that. But I do believe it'll probably end up being a pretty good gap, maybe 5-6 games. Then I think with the East, Boston's hurt, Indiana's hurt, right? So those are 2 big teams that could, especially Boston, that could have messed around and tried to get the 1 seed. I think that Cleveland is probably the closest continuity now remaining in the East. So I think that they'll probably remain atop their conference. So I think at the end of the day, when we get to the final part of the season, we are going to look at that and go, man, we got a repeat. Now, how far they go, that's a different story. But that is our first easy one. And now we're going to get into our first heave. Now, the first heave is going to be a little crazy. And I might need to really talk this through with you guys, but I'm curious what you'll think. I think the Detroit Pistons will have a worse record than last year. So they were 44-38. And you might say, well, Emster, how much worse can they be? I'm going to be honest. While yes, Boston and Indiana got worse, and I think Indiana getting worse helps a team like Detroit more, because I still think Boston will have a pretty good, record and everything. The problem is with that for them, Atlanta got significantly better. Orlando got significantly better. You still got Philly, who can, I think they'll be better record-wise significantly. Like, those 3 teams right there can already shift some things up. Toronto's going to look better now. Like, even the bottom of the conference has somewhat stepped up. So now Detroit, I don't think, has quite an easy path to just, oh, well, Indiana and Boston are hurt and down. We can take advantage. I mean, they still could. But you still got teams like the Knicks. You still have teams like the Cavs, the Bucks. Again, the Magic now, the Hawks. Like, you have other teams that can fill in those slots and make it harder for Detroit to come back and, not that they'll miss the playoffs per se, but if you told me they were 41-41, or they were 42-40, I don't think that would be ridiculous. I really don't. Especially with their loss of shooting now. Obviously Malik Beasley had his whole investigation, so he's not coming back to them. I think that lack of spacing can hurt this team again. So we'll see. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up with a worse record than last year. And I know a lot of people probably won't expect that, so that's why I would call that my heave. And then we're going to knock out the next 2 easy predictions back to back, since they are both award predictions. And now we get to a little bit of award predictions, and I guess this will be a spoiler, for a future awards video I'll probably do before the season starts. But I think Cooper Flag is winning Rookie of the Year, and I think Wemby is winning Depoy. Wemby was already on pace to win Depoy basically for 2 years now, and I don't think he's going to have a blood clot that will take him out for the rest of the year this time around. And Coop winning Rookie of the Year, I think, should be a layup, unless, Ace Bailey or someone else just absolutely goes ballistic. I think Cooper Flag, as long as he can play good, they're going to give him Rookie of the Year, and not even saying that wouldn't be dessert. So those 2 are going to be my next easy predictions. Those are layups. At the end of the season, I believe that this is going to look pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And then we've got a couple fun heaves that we're going to get into now. The next heave I want to do. The Philadelphia 76ers will make the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I know. But Emster and Embiid's health. But Emster, Paul George. You're absolutely correct. I want to make that very abundantly clear. You are correct. I should not believe in this team to make the Eastern Conference Finals. But the most NBA Twitter Joel Embiid moment would be he makes the ECF with Boston injured, Indiana's injured, Cleveland's still there, but how much do people believe in Cleveland now? No one really believes in the Bucks outside of if Giannis can do something. This would be the year that Philly messes around and makes the ECF, and I already foresee on Twitter people calling Embiid Mickey. I already see it. The vision is there, guys. Now, am I 100% locked in with this prediction? Hell no. But that's why it's a heave. Because if it goes in, I look like a genius. And I think that Philly, this would be the year they mess around and make it. And then my other heave is that Zion Williamson will be traded. Now, I didn't want to get into the specifics of like who, because at that point, we're just spending way too much time on creating a hypothetical trade video. But I believe there's a chance New Orleans sees how this season's going. They realize they just traded their own first-round pick for this coming year and go, you know what? We might as well go in with the tank. Because clearly we've built in spite of Zion at times. And actually, I want to point out, I'm going to post up here a YouTube comment that I somewhat actually agreed with from my New Orleans video. Shout out to you, by the way, for that. I think genuinely I would agree somewhat with this idea that they have built in spite of Zion. So I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you know what, this Zion era was cool. We tried our best. We might as well embrace the tank and just roll with what we got. So I believe Zion's going to get traded and Philly will make the Eastern Conference Finals. Those are my two heaves. Those are like, ooh, boy, if they happen, I look like a genius. And if they miss, uh-oh. And then we're going to go to some easier layups. My last layup, or my second to last layup, Devin Booker is going to be an all-star. I believe he missed it last year because of injuries and all that. I think he's going to be right back, and I think the dialogue around Booker will probably change now that KD is gone and all of these expectations and pressures are gone. And then my last layup, it's about my Chicago Bulls. The last video I made, they will finally miss the play-in. You want to name me? I will name you the teams that will all end up over my Bulls. All right? Cleveland, Boston, New York, Indiana, Milwaukee, Detroit, Orlando, Atlanta, Miami, Toronto, Philly, 11. Those 11 teams, I feel pretty confident. And if one of them you want to take away, so let's say you go, I don't think Miami's going to be better than Chicago. Okay, Philly will be, or they should be. We can finally try and get a top pick. We can get out of the purgatory, guys. We can attain freedom. Finally. After all these years, I need it. I need it. Give me that top lottery pick. So those are my last two easy predictions. And then we got two heaves. One of them is just literally a shot in the dark. And the other one I actually do kind of feel like might happen. So my first heave is my shot in the dark. I believe Utah's getting a top 2 pick in next year's draft. They are either going to end up with AJ DeBansta or Darren Peterson. They are going to end up with one of those 2 picks. And I think it is going to be AJ DeBansta at number 1 or 2, whatever it is. They're going to get the guy from BYU to stay in that area. Book it. Then we got to get to my actual theory that I believe will happen. The Golden State Warriors will have a worse record than last year. They were 48-34. And I know what you're thinking. But I'm sorry, I have Jimmy now. I want you to ask Miami Heat fans how well their regular seasons have gone with Jimmy Butler. And get back to me. Because here's the thing. You got to hope Steph doesn't hit a slump. Which at multiple points throughout the last however many years you've seen at least for some stretch. You then have to hope Jimmy will take the regular season seriously. Which, at this point, are we asking for too much? Because clearly he doesn't take that very seriously. I believe you could see that team flutter down to basically kind of like the Pit 44-38, maybe 500. I think they'll end up above 500 because, again, you still do have Curry and Jimmy. But, I mean, we still don't know if Kuminga's coming back. Looney's gone. What are you working with this team to feel confident that their record will stay the same or improve? That's my one thing. I really don't feel that confident because, again, Jimmy's going to do a lot of regular season games where he's phoning it in. He doesn't really care. He's hanging out. He's chilling. He's making money. And that's fine. Do you, Brody. But when I'm talking about predictions, I genuinely think the Golden State Warriors will end up with a worse record than last year. And I think that might change the entire scope of the West. And then we are back. And I wanted to thank you guys. I know I took a little bit of a hiatus, and I'm really not one to do that very often. But I just need a little bit of a mental refresh and a break and a breather. But I really just wanted to thank you guys because, again, in spite of that, you guys have really been showing love and support to these videos and commenting and all that. So, again, don't change that, guys. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 2K, okay? I want us to get somewhere meaningful. So, again, it means the world to me whenever you guys watch these videos, let alone comment on them. So, again, this was Hamster Knows Hoops. Let me know what you think of my predictions and what predictions do you have? What are your heaves? What are your layups? As always, guys, this was Hamster Knows Hoops. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. Peace out.